Hey everybody, this is Counselor Curtis from the Jimmy Doane Show. Listen, we had a little technical difficulty at the beginning of this show. I forgot to plug in the microphone. What can I say? I'm not Engineer Eric. So, you get to pick up where we began recording audio, which is about 10 minutes in. Sorry, you missed our entire fantastic Greta, Leonardo, climate changing solution. So we'll have to do it for you again next time. So anyway, picking up now at the 10-minute mark.
We're not on?
Yep.
We weren't on.
That's it.
Now we're on.
That's right.
Oh God. Way to go. So you missed all that about daylight.
Yep. Oh well.
Well, so
it's on the recording.
It's on the recording, right? You get that later. So adding the schoolgirl makes it feel optimistic about the future. So she's pleading for help to go to the COP25 climate change summit, and she needs a zero carbon 6,000-mile lift to get there. The teenage climate activists travel by boat to the U.S., and we talked about that. So anyway, she has to go to Madrid, and so she doesn't know yet how she's going to get to Spain. However, offers of help have come. Already one come in from Spain's ecological transition minister. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is the ETM, the ecological transition,
the apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic,
whatever she is. Right. I love this. They have a minister, an ecological transition minister in España, and writing up to Dear Greta, it would be great to have you here in Madrid. Boom. Come on over if you get, I don't know, flap your wings. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. If you can make it here.
Now, I got another little thing here, and I'm curious to know what you think about this from a legal standpoint.
Okay.
Halloween, of course, we just finished.
Yes.
Okay. And it was eventful. It was kind of interesting. There were a couple of things. I think that we might talk a little bit about this later on, but there's been a big hoorah. I think the Trump people had a little Halloween party in the White House, and they invited everybody. They gave them all little paper bricks, and they with their picture name on it, and they made a wall. They built a wall with their names on the bricks. Yeah. So, needless to say, a little hoorah about that. A Halloween killjoy spiked children's trick-or-treat snacks with razor blades.
A killjoy? Is that the new term for public assassin or something?
Well, whatever. Anyway, they arrested this guy after multiple people in Waterbury, Connecticut reported finding the blades in their kids' baskets. Now, I don't know what it is. Normally what you do when you have a razor blade problem, you put it inside the apple or something.
Yeah.
Okay. But apparently they found these razors, and what he said was he told the police the blades had been accidentally spilled into the candy bowl he had been using. Cops determined that a 3-year-old child living in the home had access to them, but they still don't know whether they believe if the toddler spilled the blades into the give-out.
Seems a little too coincidental.
Well, not only that, when you think about it, if the toddler spilled the blades into the give-out basket, certainly when you're reaching in there to get the stuff, you would come up with bloody fingers or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, so at any rate, I thought it was interesting. He's been charged with risk of injury. He's being held on $250,000 bond before he gets arraigned. Now, I thought that's a little pricey. I mean, they got him. He's there. It's whatever. He's not going anywhere. He's got a toddler. He's got a house.
Well, that's the question: is he going somewhere, and is he a danger to the community? Those are the two standards for bail. And this is a guy who, honestly, that is some spooky behavior. If you believe that that's what he did on purpose, that he intentionally placed objects in the path of children so that they would be injured. Yeah. And it does seem that that's the case. I mean, his story is weak at this point.
Weak.
And so, to me, I mean, this could be a guy who has some murder on his record. Nobody does that kind of stuff. I mean, nobody. You can, unless you're like a college or a young college disturbed kid who is really about to turn a corner between serial killer and priest or something. This is weird behavior. Yeah. So. This same path. No.
Well, of course, now we don't know the whole story.
We don't.
But there might have been one razor blade or two.
That's right. And if it's one razor blade, okay. And if it's like let's say it's a razor blade inside a safety razor.
Right.
Okay.
Or
all right. One razor blade inside. Then it's like, okay. Well, the thing fell. There was also my toothpaste and toothbrush were also in there.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was my overnight bag also, or I don't know, whatever it is. Like you said, there's more to the story, but. From what you read, it doesn't look good for the guy, and 250 doesn't sound too far outside of the realm of something that would be required to protect kids. I mean, that means he can still bond out for $25,000. I mean, if he has to get out, he can mortgage his house or something.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's going to be okay. Great. Speaking of getting out, Beto,
yes,
has gotten out.
Bye
bye. As campaign runs out of cash after launching a run in front of the Vanity Fair saying, "Man, I'm just born to be president. I'm born to do this." And he vowed to support. What he did do, he's vowed to support the eventual nominee, no matter who it is, the Democrat.
No, of course.
Yeah, of course. Defeat Donald Trump. There are now 18 Democrats left on the trail. I can tell you firsthand from having the chance to know the candidates, we'll be well served by any one of them, and I'm going to be proud to support whoever she or he or sis is, he wrote.
He did not say sis.
No, he didn't. I added that. I added that. No. So the point being that he's dropped out, and it's interesting because we're starting to hear other rumblings of people as the shift, as the ground shifts underneath these candidaents. And there does appear that
we've been waiting for this.
Kamala, for instance, is cut back. She's given Iowa up to someplace else. Given it in New Hampshire, and she's going strictly to Iowa.
Yeah,
and some other stuff like that. And then they did a little study, and they found out that somebody, I don't know, McGovern maybe or Clinton at one time, they also cut back before they won. So this is not a iron.
Well, sure. We're still in October, as we've always said. There's nothing, or actually November. But even so. Until January, the field is not really even set, really.
No. There's going to be some other people. It does interesting, though. Of course, they're the pollster. Boy, you'd love to be in the polling business these days. I mean, you got to feel
this is their heyday right now.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, they're raked. It's like when we park cars on our lawn during the game.
This is it.
6-7 times a year, we rake in the dough, and these pollster people must be killing it. So, it's what's interesting is that they're all over the place. I saw one where one poll did this and one poll did that, and they were like, "Wait a minute, this is."
Of course, yeah. That's the crazy. It all depends on how you phrase it. Everybody knows that.
That's right.
It's
the
and
methodology.
who you call. Yeah, I mean, there's a million things. I mean, until you see the Gallup poll. So, one of these super professional organizations that abide by all the standards.
What was the one?
You can get polls to say anything you want.
They did say, here's another one. A year out from the 2020 election, nearly half of Americans want Trump impeached, according to polls.
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly. And NBC Wall Street Journal poll says, in a hypothetical general election matchup, Biden leads Trump by 50-41, and Warren holds a nearly identical 50-42. So that's, these are one year in advance, and these are polls that are taken. And like you say, how do you ask the question? Who would you like to see win? Or would you like to see that bum, that creep in the way?
Exactly.
So anyway, so Nancy, moving on to the impeachment.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy Pelosi expects televised impeachment hearings this month, November.
Televised.
But warns that the Democrats' case against Donald Trump must be ironclad before they vote.
Mm-hmm.
The first formal test of support for the impeachment investigation, the Democratic-controlled House on Thursday, just the other day, voted exactly along party lines. You got to be kidding me. In fact,
actually, 2 Democrats voted for not impeachment.
Right. 2 Democrats. Boy, I saw it. So it was bipartisan, but it wasn't exactly the way that Nancy expected it.
Yeah.
So this is
Well, it is what they expected.
How
It's
so?
they knew that this is sham impeachment. I think that the top people know.
Sham impeachment.
Yeah.
They probably, maybe those two, I don't know, but maybe those two were in threatened districts and they said, look, we're going to vote it out of here anyway, so you go ahead and vote whatever you want to do in order to retain your seat for the next time.
Well, yeah, and also we know people from the squad have been clamoring for the impeachment. People from the Democratic left who really believe that there's some impeach-worthy. They believe that Russian collusion still.
Right, still, yeah.
And
We're
so
working on that.
this is a way to throw them a bone and say, look, here, go ahead, do your worst.
Well,
And vote all you want. You get your 5 minutes. You get to interview your witnesses, jump up and down, and then you can say, "Look, we impeached." When you run for your office next
right.
fall.
Well, it's interesting that, of course, it's all about the phone call. Almost everything's about the phone call.
Well, now it's about the cover-up with the phone call.
Okay, it's the phone call and the cover-up.
Right.
It's interesting.
Always easier to prove a cover-up than it is to prove the actual crime.
Okay.
Always, and that's and you look at that's like the telltale sign. That's the telltale sign that there is no freaking underlying crime and that they're just trying to pin it on you. But it's just always one level easier to show the cover-up.
Okay.
Because you can act in covering something up that's like there are innocent people will try to cover things up sometimes because because it looks bad.
Right.
And so then all of a sudden you're covering something up and then you've covered something up.
Right.
And if there's a crime of covering up, then it doesn't matter if the thing you were covering up was innocent.
Right.
You covered.
Inconsequential.
That's
right.
it.
Yeah.
So,
cover up is the thing. Yeah. Resisting arrest.
That's it.
So, yeah. The probe focuses on a July 25th telephone call in which he asked his Ukrainian counterpart to investigate the Democratic potential rival Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Now, what's interesting, the most damaging, I think we talked about this before, is from the lieutenant, whatever he was, the lieutenant colonel, that's kind of, let's see, Vindman.
Yeah.
He testified. Now, it turns out he's basically Ukrainian.
Yeah.
He was. I don't know if he was born in Ukraine or not, but he's spent almost all of his life in Ukraine. Speaks Ukrainian the whole day, and I guess that's one of the reasons he was over there. Was as part of the State Department, you might as well have a guy that is intimately familiar with all that stuff. But that doesn't show that he's any great allegiance to his commander in chief, Purple Heart officer. So
all he has to be is a Democrat.
Right. Well, they have in fact gone. The Oppo people have said, yeah, registered Democrat. Obviously, this.
Yeah. I stand by my earlier standard. If they have to explain to people why the acts rise to the level of impeachment, then they don't have to sell to the American people. And if they don't have to sell to the American people, then they're not getting the Senate. And so,
right. Well, that's a lot of it. The other thing is, as Scott Adams said, if you've got now, they've apparently zeroed in on this telephone conversation, but up until now there have been other things.
Well, of course, whatever.
He says once
whatever
you have 10 things, that you're trying to prove it, he calls
the laundry list.
Yeah, the laundry list. Yeah, that's no good. So anyway, he basically what they said was. So far, the people that have testified have said they didn't think it was proper for our leader to ask their leader to investigate stuff for the election.
Yeah. I mean, this is, 3 translations later,
right?
And 4 security agents. I mean, to me, I don't believe anybody's characterization of this. And I go back to my other supposition, which is, and this is something actually Trump brought up just yesterday, but I mentioned a couple days ago, which is, you really think Trump is afraid of Biden?
Yeah.
I mean, you really think Trump would go out of his way to avoid having Biden as an opponent? I don't. No. I think Biden would be the perfect opponent for Trump from Trump's perspective.
Yeah.
It's just somebody he can just sit there and sit on top of and just pound his face into the dirt just over and over and over, and the guy will have no response for it. I mean, I think he would just go down over and over, and the only possible way out is Trump may overplay that hand at some point.
Right.
He may be beating him so bad people may feel sorry for Joe.
It's like when the football team runs up a 72-0
That's
score.
right. Maybe hey.
Yeah, right.
But But the thing is that this is the presidency, and nobody's going to be like, well, okay, you should stop beating him up on it so much, and I'm going to support him. I mean, I just don't think that would be the swing. So, to me, Trump has no motivation to
I agree.
Go after Biden.
No, and well, not only that, of course, we're going to find out. Of course, we've seen, which makes perfect sense. The rules, the impeachment, the rules for the hearing, of course, are heavily weighted towards the Democrats. You know,
whoever's in charge.
Right, whoever's in charge. Yeah, they make the rules. You know,
right. That's all fair.
That's all fair and square. You can, you know, and of course the Republicans are claiming that, you know, all the referees are on the other side, and that but that's the rule.
That's right. Somebody's league has to have the referees.
That's right. Well, now again, to me, it reminds me a little bit of the election when you got the popular vote versus the
electoral college.
Electoral college. That's the rules.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so you live or die by the rules. End of story. So the Democrats have set out these rules. Whine, complain, bitch and moan. You do what you're going to do. It'll all come out.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see what the backlash is. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, and of course we're far enough away from the election, and that's what they're hoping.
Well, that's the other,
backlash, schmacklash, you know, unless they get him. But I don't think they're going to.
On that.
Yeah, I don't either. Then there's the dream. The home run ball is they get Pence in it too, and then Nancy becomes president, right?
Yeah, how would they get Pence in it? I mean, what's he done? I mean, here's a guy who won't go anyplace without his wife. I mean, come on.
Well, look. We're not talking about what people have done here.
Yeah.
What's he covered up?
Well, that's true too. Yeah. And, you're right. Yeah.
And that's all it has to be is he knew about the Russian thing or whatever, or he knew about the Ukrainian phone call and didn't say anything. So clearly he's in on it.
Clearly. Well,
they come up with something.
You say that. But I don't think that these people have thought out the end game yet, because. What is the end game? You get Pence, or you know what is going to happen?
Well,
do you go after Pence and get Nancy? Then what? And then now she's not leader of the House anymore. She's president,
right?
And then who's the vice president? And you know the end game is really sloppy. And
but that's inconsequential. This is all about damaging the Republican brand.
Okay.
This is we can't have they're winning and we can't have that. So. We got to pound them.
Yeah.
And if so, you pound the top guy, and then you see how well it goes. And if it goes really, really well, then you pound the next guy in line.
I guess.
I mean, that would be the strategy. But and then there's some people in the party who think this is a great strategy, even if they lose, even if they get smashed. They've at least done an impeachment investigation, and they can call it. And look, even if the investigation doesn't go anywhere at this point, you know they'll call it the impeached president.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
That's who the press will refer to him as from now on.
That's for sure. I got a real quick light note here.
Sure.
Mrs. Jimmy did not want me to bring this up.
Uh-oh.
She did not want me to bring
note from corporate.
Yeah, note from corporate. A drunk man.
Uh-oh.
Filmed thrusting at a pile of leaves with his trousers down has been jailed for 8 weeks. The headline basically was he was trying to make love to, or whatever, you know, have sex with a pile of leaves.
Okay.
And this was outside. They got it on film. They arrested him, but he's jailed for 8 weeks. And he tried to run away. He came out. He was drunk.
Right.
You know, and he was horrified. He was mortified by the lewd act, and it took outside of some kind of beef eater and what. So they arrested him for public indecency. Outraging public decency and possessing cannabis. He was obviously out of control, and he's jailed for 8 weeks.
Yeah, that's excessive. Except we don't know what his past record is, and we don't know if there are other people around. I mean, was this pile of leaves in a playground full of children?
No, but it was apparently outside of a restaurant.
Okay, so that's and then there's a question of how did he respond to the officers and things.
Well, he ran away, but then he came out. It says he came out sheepishly and admitted it.
They hate it when you run away.
Yes, I know.
Running away, they
Yes.
hate that. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's been video this week. Of,
No, there have been a lot. I mean, it's interesting. You give them lip. That, as far as they're concerned, that is license to kill.
That's it. That's it. So yeah, it's bad.
I thought it was interesting. They had there was a bit of video this week of they had this one girl tied down, restrained, completely restrained, and they still zapped her a couple of times.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
And-
Look, I tell everybody, man, when you're out in the field, they have all the power. Your rights don't kick in until you get to court.
She was in
Nobody
jail.
ever questions. Yeah, but you're not in court, you know. So your rights don't kick in until you get to court, and nobody questions a freaking bump on the head or a black eye or can't even see, little taser wounds.
Yeah, right.
God,
No, you're right. That's right about that. They'll go to town. Now, here we have another small little light note. This is a candidate for the Darwin Awards.
Aha.
The woman who climbed into a lion enclosure at the zoo says she now identifies as a lion.
As a lion.
Yeah,
Okay.
She's decided. This is the new thing you can identify.
All right, well, get back in there.
That's right. Well, she shot to notoriety after climbing into a mountain lion's enclosure at the zoo. Claims she now identifies as one of the creatures. She told a reporter that she is in fact a reincarnated lion while en route, and she was en route to appear in court for a shoplifting charge.
She's going to be a regurgitated lion.
Watch out. Well, she said I was perfectly safe because she didn't in the cage, but there was a little moat between her and the lion. So no problem. Yeah, right. So I'm the lion now. Can't you tell? Have you ever heard of reincarnation? Do your history.
All right.
Do your history. It's called reincarnation. I am the lion. Huh?
Tranker. That's right.
I'll tell you.
See, give her the cub amount.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Put it in, whatever. But I just thought that she is, she's on her way to court. And here's my excuse why I didn't show up on time. Because I'm a lion.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
You're lying. You're laying wire
for the jury here.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh God.
Is great.
Well, look, she's obviously clearly disturbed. What can you do?
Disturbed. So anyway, okay. Now we have a new resident in Florida.
Oh yeah.
The Donald.
Oh yeah.
The Donald has. This is great. The Donald has decided to make his new residence here in Florida. I guess at Mar-a-Lago.
He's a Florida man.
He's going to be a Florida man, and I thought it was interesting.
Fits right in.
He swapped a blue state where he won just 37% of the electorate into a state where he won us.
Barely, yeah.
Barely, but he won. He won.
Yeah. And now he's got to deal with the released felons. But as you pointed out, he supported the guy who supported that bill.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. While of course, he routinely battled with Palm Beach County officials for decades, he's chafed at New York's unfriendly climate. Manhattan's district attorney has subpoenaed his tax returns for New York. So I don't know if he's going to get out. I don't know. His new hometown.
Oh yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe you can register him as Florida tax returns.
That's exactly right.
Sorry,
yeah,
can't
Florida
have
now can't have them. So it's interesting because DeSantis come on down, and it's interesting. Andrew Cuomo, on the other hand, only said good riddance. It's not like Donald Trump paid taxes here anyway.
Yeah, right.
He said he's all yours. Well, wait a minute. He
paid millions.
His properties paid millions.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact is, he built buildings that pay millions.
Yeah, exactly.
And so this is the ultimate.
Probably paid hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes over his life, or caused New York to receive over $100 million in tax revenue. I would bet.
There's no question in my mind. Of course, unfortunately for New York, $100 million ain't that much. But still,
I'm just saying, how much has Cuomo contributed to the tax
see your
base
tax return
for his entire life combined?
Right.
And,
this is the ultimate in sour grapes. I mean, I spit on you. Go ahead and leave. And take your money with you.
Yeah, that's right.
You creep. I'm sitting
Well,
there
but he
thinking,
won't move any businesses, obviously.
well, no, but still, he's going to have to do something.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, there must be
he's
some
certainly going to keep
strategic
Trump
reason.
Tower. Huh?
Like you said, I think the tax return issue. There's got to be some strategic reason why he did the switch.
Let me tell you.
If even just to use as a byline in his advertisement for when he needs to win Florida.
Right.
You
Now, that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
Is it was close, and now here I am in Florida.
I'm your neighbor.
I'm your neighbor,
Right.
and I pay property because he's already been paying property.
Yeah,
taxes.
yeah, but now he can emphasize.
Now he can emphasize. Of course, he'll probably get homestead exemption, and so out of his $22 million tax bill, he'll get a $25,000 right off the top.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder, he also, I mean, not that it matters much, but
he's going to escape inheritance taxes.
that, and also potentially, I mean, this is questionable, but I mean, he's at least putting him in a better position to raise any jurisdictional claims in terms of any sort of criminal state activity in New York. You know? Now he's in Florida, so or whatever.
Come and get me.
That's it. Well, DeSantos, he's got somebody at the top with his back.
Oh yeah.
So
that'd be good. So
on his back.
So anyway, let's just see here. One got half Americans and good riddance and so forth. Now we got another little minor problem here, and I'm going to counting on you to bring up the end here because this is my last item.
Okay, no problem. I got a few things.
Okay, good. Smugglers are sawing their way through Trump's new border wall. I love this. Trump's border wall.
Uh-huh.
Now, apparently, this border wall is made up of these giant steel something or another that the crane puts them in there, and they're supposed to be just about impenetrable. It didn't take them long. It says here, smuggling gangs in Mexico have reportedly sawed through new sections of President Trump's border wall in recent months using commercially available power tools, opening gaps large enough for people and drug loads to pass through, according to U.S. agents and officials. The breaches have been made using a popular cordless household tool known as a reciprocating saw that retails for about $100. When fitted with specialized blades, these saws can slice through one of the barrier's steel and concrete bollards, whatever those are, in minutes. So what's interesting is they interviewed somebody, and everybody's always speaking on condition of anonymity. I never have quite understood that because they're not authorized to speak, as if it makes a difference. Okay, no, I'm not. This is anonymous. I'm not authorized to speak. But here's the deal.
Right, and also half the time that's because the anonymous source is them. And I talked to somebody who
I talked to somebody. Mexican criminal organizations, which generate billions of dollars in smuggling profits, have enormous incentive to adapt their operations at the border to new obstacles and enforcement methods, officials say. Now, this brings up another point, and that is where the money is. And this reminds me of when they try and do campaign finance reform. When there's $4 trillion running through Washington, and they try and say, well, you can't, you got to keep money out of politics. You might as well have a border wall. I mean, I'm sorry, you're not. There's no amount of laws, there's no nothing that is going to keep money out of politics. And there's no border wall if the demand is here, and if the billions of dollars be made by the drug cartels, there's no border wall on the planet that's going to keep them out of here.
Well, right. Now, technically, it's not designed to keep them out. It's designed to slow them down. But you're absolutely right. There's two big, huge incentives to get through the border wall. And the biggest one is the one you've named, which is we need to get these drugs through there. Because that's cash. That's actual real power, real money. And it's tons and tons. And it's real money. I mean, we're talking tens of billions of dollars.
Tens of billions, right?
Okay, right. Okay, so that's, like you said, nothing is going to stop that from happening. But the other incentive is, of course, that we're giving away free money if you show up here. That is, all you got to do is have a kid, and you get, here's your rent, your whatever, your aid, the whole everything, and soon it could be health care, and who knows, opportunity. There's a billion other things you can get. So it's a different scope, a different scale of incentive, but it's still a big incentive. It's enough for you to get a saw for $100 and chew a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
But the wall does still slow people down, but I'm with you. I mean, the thing to do is to de-incentivize everybody, let the drugs be legal here.
Legalize drugs.
That's right, and then
take care of that.
Have a waiver at the very least for people who show up for a certain period of time, if not just an outright recognition that you're not getting free stuff. But either way, you de-incentivize everybody, and then you don't really need that much of a wall anymore, for what it's worth. I mean, we still need some border protection. You still need border control, I think, just for...
Well, without a border, you don't have a country. Pretty much. Well, there's a lot of people that say that's not right, but you define a country by the border.
Right, and here's what it comes down to: is who's paying the taxes. And there's an outpost way out in the middle of the desert out there. Is he paying his tax to Mexico or the United States? And what does he get any services? That kind of stuff. It comes down to what everybody imagines in their mind is the social contract or whatever it is.
We've got a new place though to put them.
Where's that?
Well, California is kind of a sanctuary state, right?
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of cleared land there.
Newly cleared
land.
Well, look, you know my plan. I would homestead them in federal property. I would give the federal property back to people, so that I think it would be managed better. And you might as well start with anybody who wants a piece, and you get a 1/16 of an acre. We'd have enough for a couple of billion people to show up.
Well, 1/16 of an acre is not much.
Look, what do you want for free? Damn it!
In the old days, it was 640 acres.
Yeah, well, that's the old days. We don't have that much property now.
Yeah, we do. You could certainly, let me put it this way: you could certainly, I guarantee you could give away 10 acres, and it wouldn't make a dent in what is out there. And you have to understand, there's millions of acres, and the feds own 44 million.
A 1/16 is big enough for you to put a trailer on and grow some tomatoes and have a couple chickens. Right?
I'm looking out here. Well, I'm on 1 acre. Okay.
You're a rich white person. Okay, whatever. They get a half or a quarter an acre. I'm not going above a quarter.
Okay, quarter it is.
Okay. All right, let's see if I got anything here. I got a couple things. Aha! Okay, so we got some imagery for our first thing. And first, let me take us over to Zimbabwe.
Okay.
There it is.
It's been a while since we've been here.
That's right. And then, let me show you. This is the old Zimbabwe dollar.
Right.
This is the $100 trillion note.
Okay.
And
can you imagine?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
look at it. Says right there, I promise to pay the bearer on demand $100 trillion. Sure you do.
Yeah, that's right.
They better be awfully small.
Well, not only that, but you know what they do. What they do in this country, of course, if you do that, is when you go to cash that in, they give you another one.
Right. Exactly. They give it to you in pennies.
Well, no, they give it. What they do is instead of blue like that, it's a green one.
Right. Exactly. Well,
okay, now this is good.
This is an old $10 gold note. We're just kind of playing around with this so you can see what that is. Not a very great picture, but here's a better one. Here's a 10,000, and this tells you, I mean, certified. This is a gold certificate, and this is more like it. Three signatures on this thing. That is a note, right?
Now, so here's the deal. If you were to, now it says the United States Treasury, right? This says the United States of America promises to pay, both of those, promises to pay on demand, whatever it is, $10,000 on this one, and the other was $20 in gold coin.
Right.
So if you
this one is from the Kings County Trust Company, Brooklyn, New York.
Right.
I don't know if that one has any. Yeah, that's all that one is, and then this one, the 20. Yeah, United States of America in gold coin,
and it's signed by the treasurer. And this is a legal document. Some of the treasurer and the other assistant treasurer or somebody. And is the other one two signatures?
Yeah, hold on, I'll tell you. It should be the mint guy, right? Register of the Treasury is one, and the other one is something of
Doesn't
the
matter.
United
These are
States.
officials, okay?
Yeah.
Point is that this is, and of course, basically the United States of America, thank you so much, has just said, not anymore.
Yeah.
You know, we payable. It is signed. This is a contract. And what was interesting,
Yeah.
there were. Now you would know more about this than I do, but I believe that there was a bunch of people that sued the government and said, "Wait a minute, this is a contract."
Well, that's why it had 2 signatures on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a promissory note, like the deed to your house.
Right.
I mean, is that level of security that it's supposed
The
to be.
Supreme Court said no.
That's true. Well, there were very famous cases that came down through the Supreme Court, notably all during wartime.
Right.
And
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and
Oh, I didn't know
basically abrogated the obligations of those contracts. I think they sued them during World War II.
Well, it would have been during World War II because
Yeah.
the confiscation was, in other words,
March
until 1932,
33.
you could walk in there with your
Yeah.
20 and get your $20 gold piece. No problem until March 14th,
Yeah.
1933. You could march through there and get your $20 gold piece.
So anyway, Zimbabwe's issued a new dollar.
Okay.
So, and it's down to single digits again. So.
Okay. So the new dollar is equal to how many of the old dollars?
Well, I'm guessing 100 trillion or something. I don't
Okay.
know how many.
Well, I remember when the first time I went to Paris, France, they had just switched to the new francs, and there was 100 to 1, I believe.
When I went to Mexico, they switched to 1,000 to
It
1.
was 1,000 to 1.
Yeah.
So you had the old francs and the new francs.
3,000. You got 3 new ones.
Yeah.
It was
Well, I remember
crazy.
you would get for 100 francs, you would get 1 back.
All right. So, well, we'll see what happens with the monetary.
Yeah, like that's
supply.
really going to make a difference, you know. And every time I've seen this happen before, it's not long before the new ones are
Well,
going
of
to be
course.
worth.
No, Zimbabwe is still their official inflation rate is still 16% a month or something.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and that's just the official. They're going to do it again for sure. I mean, look. We are in absolute fiat currency hell right now. We're in the bowels of fiat currency hell. Every central bank on the planet is devaluing as fast as they can. No major currency is attached to any thing of value.
Yeah.
They're all decoupled. They're all fiat right now. And everybody is all in on the table with this. It's amazing to see. There's not a single adult in the room in terms of just anybody. You know, Bitcoin isn't attached to anything. Even the Libra would be just attached to other fiat currencies, a basket of fiat currencies. Nobody, I think somebody could absolutely corner the market on money if they just attach it to something. And I think that the Peter Schiff model is as close to that as you can get. Sort of, they actually say, okay, we're going to put your gold in a vault somewhere and keep track of it,
Yeah.
and you can borrow against it, and that's your money. But
Of course, that's the way it was. It's interesting because in the United States here, up until 1971, there were stacks of gold, literally bars of gold in New York now I think it's mostly in New York and the National Bank or whatever it was in New York. And what would happen is they had these giant cages that were labeled, Great Britain, France, Germany, and every time there would be a swap, they would move, they go in there and they'd move the bars out to the other one in order to equalize everything out, and nobody actually, but they actually had to do that, not anymore.
right, well, and that's what I think somebody needs to get back to that at some
yeah.
level. It's
I find it hard to believe that ultimately that it won't
Revert,
there has to be some stability somewhere
Yeah.
else. It all just goes to hell in a hand.
agree.
Wasn't it Peter Schiff that said that they're all that inflation or that the value of the fiat money is in free fall was the word they used.
And it doesn't surprise me. Obviously, we've just run $3 trillion deficits per annum since Trump was elected.
Yeah.
Now we just passed through the $23 trillion debt.
Oh, did we?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't.
Finally passed through the $23 trillion
Didn't take
debt
long.
mark.
I saw a friend of mine here in town who's a liberal, but he said he was bemoaning the fact that Trump had promised to balance the budget. And look at this, and now we're $1 trillion more in the hole, or whatever it is. And I thought to myself, I wrote him back and I said, you do understand that politicians always lie, And the simple fact is, if you like your health plan, you can keep it.
Yeah, right.
And by the way, Jeffrey Epstein didn't commit suicide.
That's right. And there's no inflation. Well, I think we're going to have to start keeping a chart on the inflation here, because I went back to the grocery store yesterday, and milk is up again since the last time we reported. It's $3.10 a half gallon now.
Really?
Yeah. But not just 6 months ago when we started reporting, it was $2.95, and then it went up to $3, and now it's $3.10. And also, the bacon has gone now from $8.69 to $8.99 since the last time we reported.
Holy smokes!
So $8.99 a pound for Oscar Mayer bacon, and I think it was like $5.99 or $6.99 when we started the show. I mean, that the last time I bought it before that it was anyway. But anyway, we may keep track of those things.
Yeah. Probably what you ought to do is to have your own particular consumer price index.
Well, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah,
we're going to make a little chart here.
Okay, good.
I've got a whiteboard.
Okay, I see. Okay,
good.
Because I can tell you one thing.
We're going to pick 10 items or something.
Well, you ought to throw in there just to equal it out are eggs.
Okay.
Because they've dropped.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
so it'll balance out.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, it has to do. It should be pretty much with, and of course, what you're going to have to take into account is the size of the ounces. You know, it used to be 6 ounce cans, and now it's
the
5
size of the product.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
And now
Don't worry.
Oreos. You know,
Don't worry. I'll figure that out.
All right, you got that. All right.
All right. So let's see. Also, let's see. Oh, I want to take us over here to Missouri and Colorado, respectively. Here now for two two municipal stories.
Okay.
All right. So on the one hand, Colorado police destroy a man's home.
I saw.
Trying
Did you see the picture of it?
Oh yeah. Destroyed.
I mean, yeah.
They launched projectiles through the windows, blew out all the windows, blew out some of the walls, everything. They got the guy, but they destroyed the guy's $500,000 home, and the court ruled he's entitled to $0.
Zero. Yeah.
For his
this was reasonable
pains. Exactly. They were just trying to get their man, and so fortunately the guy had insurance, but it only covered part of it. He lost a couple $100,000 basically on this whole old man, whatever it is. So, contrast.
And what did they get him for? I mean, what was he?
I think it was some pretty serious stuff.
Okay.
The guy they were chasing after.
Okay.
You know, it was aggravated assault or something pretty serious. But even so, we would think that it's look. This is straight out of the movie Brazil.
Okay.
Do you remember in the beginning of Brazil how they came through the roof and they destroyed the entire place, and they're like, all right, we got him. All right, we're out of here. See ya. Yeah. And they just left the place totally destroyed.
Yeah.
And I mean it was of course satire, but no.
But no. Well, when you think about it, it's my understanding that if they have a search warrant on a house, they basically dump everything out. It's up to you to clean it up.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And they do that on your car, if they stop you on the side of the road and the dog indicates or whatever. They will just take everything, all your luggage, everything, dump it out all over the grass. Doesn't matter to them at all, and then just drive off with all your stuff just there. No consequences, nothing. They're responsible for no effort at all.
And of course, when you have basically a municipal or a court ruling that says it's okay, now they ramp up.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but it just is uncivilized.
Well,
not the way they should have to make reasonable efforts. That's all. That's what everybody's required to do.
Where one of the things this comes from when I was a kid, just about in Philadelphia when they were chasing after the Black Panthers or something.
Okay.
They dropped a bomb on the place. I mean, blew up the whole building.
There you go.
And it was just, you know.
And that may be. I remember there is a case that's associated with that.
Pretty sure that's it.
And that could be a root cause. But meanwhile, in Missouri, where you are, $20 million is going to be paid by the taxpayers to a police officer who was denigrated at work by being told by his superiors that he was not ever going to get a raise because he was too gay.
Really?
Yeah, he was told to tone down his gayness, and he's not getting the promotion. And so he sued, and he won $20 million, right? Which, okay, look.
Wait a minute. I declare I'm gay. I've just decided that I identify as gay starting
That's
now.
Now it seems, well, look, I mean, look, I'm hoping that this verdict gets cut down quite a bit.
You think?
Because, look, obviously, I mean, from my perspective, there must be punitive damages in here, which it doesn't seem constitutional or that you can get that kind of thing against a municipality for something like that.
Couldn't the citizens file a class action lawsuit against this rule?
Something like that, because I mean that's like a raping of the citizens for that cash.
Yeah,
they don't deserve to have to pay
right.
for this one comment.
Right,
and even if you compensated a guy for all of the money he would have made, that's extra over and above his current salary if he had got the promotion, or even all the money, including all of his salary forever for the rest of his life, it's not going to get anywhere near $20 million.
About $1 million.
Exactly. Yeah. So you maybe give him that, okay? But anything over and above that is just.
Well, you wonder, or is this I guess sort of
virtue?
A jury trial?
Yeah, absolutely. It's no judge would.
No, but I mean, well, why didn't the judge step in and say, "You can't do that"?
Well, that's what appeals are for. Sometimes, sometimes the judge will cut it right down at the end. And just
I was going to say, if you were any reasonable,
nice try,
yeah, nice try, jury. God, you got to be kidding me.
Bailiff, strike that. 200,000, whatever it is. But interesting, just the contrast in the treatment of the individuals. They just, on the one hand, they absolutely destroy this one guy's house and do $500,000 worth of damage, and he gets nothing.
Right.
And the other guy, they hurt his feelings, and he gets $20 million.
That's right.
It's like, all right. Well, it goes to show you how sort of things are different in different places. All right. Well, looks like we're going to end early.
Okay.
And of course, we started late. Sorry about that, everybody.
Let me just mention one thing real quick here. Locally, we're having a big battle here locally, and maybe other people are having it too.
Okay.
Where the city commission has decided that public comment is verboten. And they basically changing the rules like they did in Congress, so that if you want to complain to the city commission, you have they've restricted it.
You have to write a letter.
Well, just not quite, but almost. You can only do it once or twice, and then
to the hate scrutiny committee.
No, I'm serious. And you have to, fill out a card and all this kind of stuff. And you're not allowed to make yourself heard. In other words, if somebody says something that everybody doesn't like or that they love, you can't applaud or boo. They will escort you out under an armed guard. If you sit there and go, yay! They literally will come. A person with guns will escort you out of the hearing room.
All right, we have to bring this up then, because this is real as well. The McLaughlin Group this week had a segment on free speech.
Oh, really? Okay.
And Eleanor Cliff's statement started off, well, normally I'm an absolutist on free speech. But I think we're in a different world now.
In the non-free speech world.
Apparently.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
And then everybody on the panel came around and said, well, except for Pat. Everybody on the panel, this was so stupid. Pat comes out and says, well, I'm not a free speech absolutist. I believe in these other things. And he named some exceptions, right? And then everybody else came out and said, well, I am a free speech absolutist, but I still believe in those exceptions. Okay. Which doesn't make sense at all.
The thing that people do, and this is the most horrible ruling on the planet, was the justice who said you can't holler fire in a crowded theater.
Exactly.
And they haul that out, they drag that out every time.
And the other one before that, where the old men were throwing communist leaflets off the rooftop. And that's the other one that started the whole thing. Where they're like, well, they're inciting a riot. No, they're old men throwing freaking shit off a rooftop. And it's like, come on.
Speaking, okay, go ahead. Let me just.
What? You go.
I'm going to tell you this. This happened right here in Gainesville, Florida.
When you got
I was all. Let me tell you. No, you ready for this?
Yes, go ahead.
This was years ago during the homecoming parade. And I, at the time, I had a condo that was 8 stories up, overlooking the homecoming day parade. Well, what happened was, I went out to the bank and I got 20 crisp, brand new $1 bills. And what I did was, as the parade came down, I opened the window which faced on the parade and punked out $1 bills one at a time. And they would float down and go into the road. Now, at the time, they were on the roof of my condo building throwing confetti off. So this $1 bill, well, it took the people on the parade route about a nanosecond to figure out this is real money. This is different from the confetti. And now that you have to understand that the parade runs at about a quarter of a mile an hour. And kids typically run out, they get candy and stuff like that. Then nobody's going to get killed. But it wasn't literally, it was maybe 10 minutes. Knock, knock, knock on my door upstairs. They'd gotten through the security. Upstairs, 3 cops. And they said, we have determined that you're throwing money and you are in. They didn't. It wasn't potential.
Papers, please.
Yeah, that's right. It was. You have to stop this because we're worried about public safety because people are going to run in the road to get these $1 bills. I had sent out about $10. Okay, this took about 20 minutes because I had the curtain down and everything. I'm just
inciting a riot.
Inciting a riot. Wait a minute, it gets better. And they said, if you don't stop, we're going to arrest you. Well, and I'll tell you, unfortunately at the time, I will admit, I had little libation or whatever, and as I told people later, if I'd had one more drink, I would have resisted arrest, and if I'd had fewer, I would have also resisted. Unfortunately, I was right at that point. I said,
"No, I'm going to say fortunately."
Yeah, fortunately, right? No, but I tell you, and so what happened was the next year. They had 3 other officers literally on the other side of the street lined up waiting for me to throw money out the window. I just thought, God, you got to be kidding me.
That's right.
It's $10. And this is your leaflet. It's called money.
Yeah. Well, and so, look, there's not an example that anybody can give where the government should be worried about the speech. If you want to claim libel or slander, that's a civil standard, which is different, in my opinion, and everybody's opinion, from the state coming after you for some sort of hate speech.
Right.
And none of these people seem to understand. None of these advocates for these policies can seem to objectify their decision long enough to understand that if you allow somebody to select what is either hate speech or what is fact versus fiction, then you are already working in the bias of that person.
Right.
And they just don't understand that for some reason. It's like they think that they're going to find some objective committee person, some nonpartisan AI or something that is going to read and go, this is a fact, this is not a fact, and therefore it can be published or not published, or this is hate speech. No, you can't do it. As soon as you appoint that person, you've already made a judgment, and there could be hate or unfactual information in your judgment. It's corrupt already at the beginning. So that's why you have to have free speech, open, and there should be no restrictions at all ever. And if you take action after that and you commit some crime, you're responsible for that. But you can't blame it on the speech, and you never should be able to blame it on the speech. And the other obvious reason why you need speech is because you literally can't share ideas without speech, without expression. And so, in other words, the entire existence of humanity and everything that we do is dependent upon our ability to share ideas. So you can restrict that at your own peril. It's amazing. And we have journalists now calling for the restriction of this. But they think that they're going to be the ones in charge of the restricting. That's where the fault lies. They all think, well, I'm getting my people in there. They never imagine, maybe, I don't know, the President of the United States today could appoint himself the hate speech arbiter of going forward or something under his new Space Force or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever it is. And just never imagine that somebody against them is going to get in and be the judge and wreck the ability for that to happen.
How about sign language?
How about it?
Hate speech, you know?
There it is. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Here, this is your number 9.
That's right.
All right. So that's all I got.
Yeah, we're done now. Went over. I had to go off this.
No, it's important. That's important stuff right there. We have
Because there were 2 other stories that I was going to bring over, but we'll get to the free speech next time probably, because it's really important. It's critically important.
I'm sure we won't go away.
No.
So, all right. Let's see here. I've got some copyright information right there. Kevin McLeod, thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you very much for lending us these music tunes. Sorry, everybody, for the beginning glitch. No audio for the first 10 minutes, but I'll have a copy up on YouTube posted, so we'll see how that goes. Join us again in 3 days. November the 6th, 2019.
4, 5, 6, yeah.
Probably be over on Facebook at that time. Back to Facebook. So, we'll see. I've been Counselor Curtis. This is the Jimmy Doane Show. See you soon.